Hello, welcome pen friends. I thought I'd do a little bit of writing with each of my September Chris's Inked pens, and I'm going to do that in my currently inked booklet. This is a Kokuyo Idea book, and it's 52 GSM Tomoe River paper. It does have a 3mm grid, so I try to use 2 squares each time. Sometimes it gets a little tricky, but I'm almost finished with this one, so I prepared my second one. So I've got I actually thought I'd already given this one away because when I started this one, I didn't know if I was even going to like it. It seemed kind of small, but this has been super for recording my inks. But now I'm really wanting to see longer samples, and I actually have the bullet journal one's already done, but I'm going to do these 8, and I actually did ink up another one with one of the orange inks because I wanted to see it in a broad nib. But I just thought I'd bring you along for that. And if we fill this up, we've got this one ready. These stickers are by Alicia. She in her Fig and Bean Company Etsy shop. She's Adventure Denali, and I'm sure a lot of you follow her, but I just love these stickers. And I just use scrapbook paper to kind of cover up that plain cream color that comes on these notebooks. So I thought that would be fun, and I have really enjoyed this one. So okay, before we get started with the 8, which are already lined up here, I'm gonna go back a little and show you. Let's see, I'm gonna make this a little bigger to see whether that'll help. Okay, I did splatter the Vinta Inks Soda Light right here, so I'd have a record of that one. Oh my gosh, isn't that pretty? It really is. And I have it in my Noodler's Ahab with the Fountain Pen Revolution Ultra Flex Extra Fine, but I was having a little trouble this morning. I don't know whether you can see how it kind of fades, and I know I was writing really fast, and that may happen here as we do these writing samples too. But I put the pen aside for now, and it's still much in the testing phase, so we'll just I'll be revisiting it. It's right here somewhere. Yeah, it's right here. It's right here, and it's on my things to do to kind of see. I don't know how many days I might have left it sitting, which is not a great idea at all with all that shimmer. So, but it's a beautiful ink, and it's still coming through. It's still flowing through, but it was having trouble keeping up, which I thought was weird this morning, but who knows. I'll look into it again. Okay, so in my bullet journal, I've got 5 pens. I've got the Opus 88 Omar, whoops, with a medium nib that I'm trying out. Let's see, I've got it in this little rickshaw pen case, and that's going really well. But it's interesting that I want to reach for the Eco because I'm so used to it. I'm just used to it. And I love this pen too. I use this mainly for letter writing, but I think for journaling I'm going to end up liking the Eco better. I'm not sure why even. That is too soon in the month. It's just September 2nd. So all these little experiments will probably start to tell. But I wrote with both of them. This was the Opus 88 with the same ink, Graf von Faber-Castell Stone Gray. It looks maybe a little darker in that nib, but who knows, because that's a big number 6 feed, and it holds a lot of ink, so it might have just been that initial. That's why I want to do a little bit longer writing samples, and we'll see. I've got a book I can copy from if need be. And then here's the TWSBI Eco Medium Cement Gray with the same ink. Whoops, I see some transfer of shimmer happening, but that's okay. And then next up was the little green, the green one's not here yet. I'm using it in a clear Eco with a medium nib. Colorverse Supernatural, my very favorite green to this point. And I just can't even tell you how much I love that. And I did order the green transparent one. Okay, then in the red transparent TWSBI Eco is still Kaweco Ruby Red. It's going great. It hasn't hesitated at all. It's been a couple of months I've had it inked up. And then I've added the purple, but we'll do a bigger sample of the TWSBI. That's in the 8 pens. So I don't know how this is going to work. It's a total experiment. So we'll just try it, and then we'll have to evaluate it later, I guess. Oh, and my rickshaw 8 pen hand roll, which this is how I have it when I write letters. I just leave the pen sticking out, and they're right there, and it's really cool. helps a lot. So we're going to start here, and I have a larger kind of a piece of cardboard. I have an exact cut one, but sometimes it slips, and I don't like that. I like to make sure that I don't have a ridge that I'm going to run up against. So I'm just going to go in the order I inked them, and we'll see what happens. This is the Nemesine Singularity with a 0.8 Nemesine stub. It's a sweet nib, and it's a wonderful pen too. Okay, so I think I'll just leave a little bit of, do a little square and try to make these longer. If I run into time trouble, then I will stop the video, finish, and then come back with the results, because I know that I don't want it to be super, super long. I can't have that happen, so. Let's see, all of a sudden I can't spell Nemesine, Nemosine. Couldn't be easier. Singularity, 0.8, and of the same nib. Okay, that's going to tell me something, I guess. Okay, and the ink is Vinta Terracotta de Milla. I love this. Just want to make sure that you can see. Whoops, we've got a lot of cat hair around here. Oh, it's hanging around. It's a pesky one. Okay, it's gone now. Honey, that wasn't even, probably wasn't even one of Coco's. It might have been Willie's. Okay, so can we see what we're doing? I think we'll get the book. There was a passage out of a book I really wanted to work on. This is George Orwell's 1984, and I marked it because I wanted to come back, because I actually wanted to copy it down and have it in here. This is a really old copy of it. It's I think it was published in 1984. Wait. No, this edition was 1983 in anticipation of the year 1984, and it has a foreword by Walter Cronkite. It's sweet. It's a really nice copy. Okay, so it's at the point in the book where the main character does something that's frowned upon, which we all do every day. So. I'm afraid you might be listening to the TV instead of my voice. I bounce around on this grid, and sometimes I don't think I'm very even, but that's okay. That was the reason I wanted to start using this one, because I didn't even know if I'd like it. And I do. I like the paper. So I'm willing to try to keep practicing and get used to that 3mm grid. Because it's 2 and 2 is 6. Yeah, 3 and 3 is 6. So I get close to what I like anyway for the distance between the lines if I use 2. Okay. The thing that he was about to do was to open a diary. This was not illegal. Nothing was illegal, since there were no longer laws. But if detected, it was reasonably certain that it would be punished by death. Okay, I hadn't really thought about writing one-handed, so I'm going to use a clip and see if I can keep this open. Yeah, that I really like to have one hand hold the paper, but I wasn't thinking it through. Okay. Comma, or at least by 25, oh my, years. Okay, see, I write fast and I start bouncing around. Forced labor camp. Oh my. Okay. Now, usually if I write at least one sentence and I get a couple of lines, that's when I can tell if the pen is going to start wimping out, and it isn't. So I am happy with that, and I'm going to leave that at that. And we'll move on to the next one. And we'll just keep running that same entry, I think. So the next pen, I've already opened the shutoff valve. This is the Opus 88 Coloro in the red. And we'll just, if I can find my place, I'll just keep writing. But just for the sake of records, I do have to write down what it is. Oh, this is so flowy. I love it. Whoop. I almost put Omar because I'm so used to it. Okay, it's the red pen, and it is a broad nib unit. And the ink is Ferris wheel, press, Algonquin maple. I'm going to put maple up here. I think this is going to be great. Got a really good feeling about it. See how wet that is? It's just super flowy. Okay. Forced labor camp. Okay. His name is Winston. Winston fitted a nib into the pen holder. And I do believe what they're talking about is one of these. Just he fitted the nib in a pen holder. Because I got thinking about that when I first read it, and I was like, what? Pen holder? And it to get the grease off. Okay, so it must have been a new nib. The pen was an archaic instrument. Oh, I like how you start. Okay, initially this had a lot in the feed, so it was darker, but when it gets going, it's so perfect. I just really like it. Instrument, seldom used, even for signatures. Let me tell you, his world is not the world I'd want to live in. And he had procured one furtively and with some difficulty. Oh, my handwriting is awful today. Well, it's probably because I'm distracted with different things. All right. Comma, simply. Because of a feeling that the beautiful paper Oh, there was another word in there too. The beautiful creamy paper. Deserved. To be written on with a real nib. Oh, this is wonderful. This is such a smooth experience, you can really get carried away. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. I think I'm gonna have to run through the rest and then come back and show you, because it's just gonna be really long, but we'll see. Maybe we can do a few more. Okay, so it did start out pretty dark. Then you start to, right about here, you know, after, you know, almost a sentence, starts to get really nice, where you can see the true color of the ink. And there's a little shading. It's very subtle, but it has that look, that fall foliage color, the red, the brilliant red that you can see if you happen to get to the right part of the country at the right time. I love it. Okay, so next up is going to be the Platinum 3776. And we're at 16 minutes, so yeah. I think what I'll do, folks, is go and finish these, and then I'll come back and show you, because I just think that's going to be best. I'm going to try to do like a nice paragraph with each one, and that way you get to see the ink a little bit better. And so do I. These are my letter writing pens, generally speaking. The bullet journal, well, I'm doing smaller chunks, so I just did a little bit for those, but I will be back. Okay, currently in progress here, and we will review the other inks that I did without you, but I wanted to go ahead and start recording again while I did the extra fine nib on the Lamy Safari, because this is the first experience I've ever had with an extra fine Lamy nib, and the ink is Diamine Scribble Purple. It's a beautiful color with a nice sheen across it. I think it's going to come out really dark in the nib, but I'm looking forward to trying this, so thought at least for this one I'd bring you along. I've got 3, including this one, left. Oops. So it's Lamy Safari, the dark lilac with an extra fine nib, and Diamine Scribble Purple. Interesting. This is probably the only nib here that might work within that 3 mil, but I don't, a millimeter, I mean. I don't like to write that small, so I'm still going to stick with the 2 blocks at a time for the writing. So I left off where Winston was talking about when he thought he'd been born and the fact that you could never tell in this day and time. Okay. So we'll just I'll do a little writing with this one and then talk about it. There's a lot of commas. This is the point where he's questioning why he's even writing in the diary, because he's not sure anybody will ever read it. This is very smooth. I don't like my writing in a fine nib or an extra fine nib, but I think with enough practice I could get used to it. Oops. Okay, so that is, can't resist doing this since I'm getting used to the nib. That is the Lamy Safari Extra Fine Nib with Diamond Purple Scribble. Scribble Purple. Yeah, it's Scribble all right. I don't like my handwriting with that. I liked my handwriting a lot better with the one before that with the 1.1 nib. Okay, I'm going to resume and do the other two, and I'll be right back with a recap. Okay, now I'm just kind of reverting back to where I was. I think you were with me through the Lamy Copper Orange, if I'm not mistaken. But it's so nice because we can see them, and we see that these are three. Well, this is a red. The Ferris Wheel Press Algonquin Maple is probably in its own right a red, but it is definitely, it can look rusty and it can look orangey, and I kind of wanted to see it with these others. But okay, so the Vinta Terracotta de Milla is this one, and then the Ferris Wheel Press Algonquin Maple. It's clearly red on the tile, and you can see that. And then the Lamy Copper Orange, which is nice to have these two right side by side. Originally I got the wrong tile when I did the other video. I felt silly. But this is brighter, and yet it still has a very unusual and nice look to it. I really like it. And that's a broad platinum nib, so it's not quite as broad as this one, the one on the Opus 88. And then next up was Jinhao X750 with the Robert Oster Bishop to King. So this was the pen, just in case you didn't see the other video. And I like it. It's lighter, it's more subtle than I thought it would be in a nib. When you look at the tile, of course, you know, it's dramatic, but it's nice. It's very readable and pretty. It almost becomes a blue in the nib, so maybe it's a blurple, because sometimes they do that to me when, you know, when initially I think I'm going to be looking at a purple. It's so funny. Okay, then next up, let's see, we go to the last four. And next was the Sailor Grenade in the Lamy All-Star. And I got a color for that too, panel for that. This is one of my favorite inks, and it was actually a sample from an ink flight, but then my pen friend Teresa sent a bottle, and it's just one of my absolute favorites. It's a deep, rich color. It looks really nice in that Lamy stub, I think. It's got lots of shading, and it was really smooth, which not every ink feels that way to me in that Lamy stub. So that particular one anyway. So I really enjoy that. And then next was the one that I came back with you for writing this, was the Extra Fine Lamy Nib in the Lamy Dark Lilac Safari. Here's the pen. So let's see, we've got a tile here on that too. The Scribble Purple. Well, we just looked at that. I don't know what I'm doing. But anyway, just in case you tuned out and tuned back in. And I liked it, but it was really funny when I jumped into the next one with a medium TWSBI nib, how, woo, it was just smooth like butter. Now this was smooth. This felt okay to me, but I'm not used to an extra fine nib. But I cannot tell you I hated the experience. I actually liked it, and it surprised me. And I think when I'm trying to fill in something that's small, which happens to me quite often, or I want to go back in a journal, this happens all the time in my bullet journal. If I've done notes and I want to go back in and add something, and I really don't want it separate because my brain does not appreciate that kind of thing. I need, well, I often reach for that micron, but this is a perfect nib for that kind of thing, for writing things in. And I like this. It comes out black in the nib, in the extra fine. I'll need to see it in something else, of course. I will use that. I will definitely use it. I don't know if I'll use the whole fill in 1 month, but we'll see. And then next up was the TWSBI Eco Purple Translucent with an old favorite Waterman Tender Purple. I just absolutely love this ink, and it comes up a lot. You guys see it a lot for me. And it's super smooth, just absolutely incredible. And it's going into the bullet journal pens. That's why it showed up initially at the bottom of that, where I did the 5 that I'm putting in my bullet journal, it showed up there too, but I wanted to do a larger writing sample just to see how it worked. I hope I'm not rocking the boat too much here. Yeah, I really, really like it. Straightforward, purple, bright and cheerful, and it's just great. And then the last but not least, is the TWSBI Eco with a medium nib in the lilac, and I put the Blackstone Barrister purple in it. It's a permanent ink. So that is darker, much darker than the Waterman Tender Purple, but it's beautiful, and to my eye, without all the lights and cameras, it shades nicely, and it's dark purple, and you can tell that it's purple. I like it. I've already addressed one envelope with it, so that was really nice. So yeah, and it's super smooth in that TWSBI. So then I did one more thing because I forgot in the beginning. I wanted to just kind of compare these two pens, the Nemesine Singularity with a 0.8 stub and a TWSBI broad nib in a TWSBI Go. So it did make a really big difference with this ink, with the Terracotta Demilla. Oops, oh, that's like looking really bright. It's really more of a burned orange to my eye, and it depends on how I put it. I can get it close, but not quite. And sure enough, I do like it better in the TWSBI broad nib, but I really enjoy the smoothness of that Nemesine nib, so it's just going to be a different appearance in letters, you know. And now I've got them both inked up, which is fine. I mean, I'll go through that. I tend to, whatever I have in this pen, I use it right up. I don't know why, but I do, because I reach for it over and over, probably. So I'll have them both going, and I can just, I can even do comparisons in a letter if I want to. So that's it. I just wanted you to have, like I was curious to have, a little more, you know, writing sample kind of fun with these inks. And wow, I really like the feel of this one, the Ferris Wheel Press Algonquin Maple. In that, of course, the whole pen is kind of a sensory delight. It has that ebonite, and it's just, and then it's smooth here, and it's just gorgeous to the eye too. And then the ink is pretty, so that's going to be a really joyful pen to write with too. Okay, but we'll come back for the half-term grades and you know, progress report and all that. I cheated you out of getting a chance to see me write with some of these, or see samples even, because I was doing things so differently the other day, and I felt like doing this. So it's like 114 heat index today, so what am I going to be doing outside? Didn't quite fill up the notebook, so now I have to look forward to the second one with the beautiful sticker on it. Oops. So I've got the 2, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you you know, if you were interested in any of these inks, that might have given you a little bit more perspective. And I'll see you next time. Whoops, got pens sticking out all over the place. Got to put everything away. Bye for now.